So good morning all of you. So in the previous class we discussed about some problems based on the motion of the charged particle in combined fields. In today's class let us see the force acting on a current carrying conductor. So in the previous classes we already discussed that whenever a charged particle is moving through the magnetic field, some force will act on that particle. So then from that you can clearly understand that when a current carrying conductor is placed in a magnetic field, then definitely some force acts on the particle, that means conductor, because current is nothing but flow of some charges. So when the charges are flowing through that conductor, then each particle of that conductor will experience some force. So as a whole that force will be transferred to the conductor. So we can say that conductor is experiencing some force there. Like suppose if I am taking like a current carrying conductor, if you are taking like this is a current carrying conductor here. And so in this current carrying conductor, let us say current is flowing along this direction. And so when current is flowing along the direction, what we can say here is these electrons will flow in opposite direction here with this velocity Vd. And so now these electrons will experience some force here, right? And so suppose say this magnetic field is placed in a magnetic field where the magnetic field is making some angle B bar here like this. The magnetic field is there like this. And so that now here current is flowing like this, the charged particle will experience some force here. So that force will be finally like not only one particle here lot of electrons will be there here, all the electrons are flowing along this direction here, right? So those electrons will experience some force here. That force will be finally transferred to this conductor here. That is nothing but what we are going to discuss. Now suppose if you are taking a conductor of a small element dl, now we need to write how much force acting on that conductor. So for that let us consider first write that consider a current carrying conductor is placed in external magnetic field. A current carrying conductor is placed in external magnetic field. The current flowing through the conductor is due to the flow of electrons, but we know when a charged particle is moving through the magnetic field it will experience some force. But we know when a charged particle is moving through the magnetic field it will experience some force. So here the electrons flowing inside the conductor will experience some force. Electrons flowing inside the conductor will experience some force, and that force will be finally transferred to the conductor. And so we can conclude when current carrying conductor is placed in magnetic field, some force may act on it. Here again I am saying that some force may act on it. We can't conclude that some force must act on it. It depends on again our theta values there. In charged particle also there are cases even though charged particle is moving through the magnetic field there is no force. That case is nothing but when theta is equal to 0 degrees or 180 degrees. Then even though particle is moving like parallel or anti-parallel to the field, then no force acts on it. So similarly here such exclusions will be there, and so that force may act on that particle, on that conductor. And so now here suppose if you are taking a simple electron, for example, the force acting on one electron I am writing here first of all. And so now here that means this is a conductor. You may mention further assumptions like Vd is the drift velocity and n is the number of mention that I is the current flowing through the conductor. Vd is the drift velocity of the electrons. And n is the number of charged particles, so number of electrons per unit volume. N is number of free electrons or conduction electrons, number of free electrons per unit volume, right? And so now first I am writing this, that is the assumptions what we are considering there. So first I am writing force acting on one electron. So let it be, I am taking it as some F bar I am taking here, force acting on one electron. So then this is minus E into Vd bar cross B bar we need to consider. Because our force formula, we know this, force is equal to Q into V bar cross B bar we need to write. And we discussed already, whenever you are writing in vector form, charge must be substituted along with the sign. So that is nothing but I am substituting with this negative sign here. And now if suppose there are n number of electrons are there. So let us write this force acting on n number of electrons. Suppose here we are taking a small element here. So in that small element, let us assume that n number of electrons are there here. So that means this element I am taking it as dl, for example, this length of this element. So that what we can write is force acting on n electrons. So n electrons we can write this as df bar is equal to n into f bar. df bar means n electron means that is nothing but length on this conductor, that I am taking as some df bar. So that we can write as n times that of electron, because all the electrons will have the drift velocity like that only, and so that n into that force will be again in the same direction. The force acting on each electron will be in the same direction you will get. So we can write that as n times that of f. So that we can write this as, therefore df is equal to, now this n value we need to write here. So that n value what we can write here is, n is nothing but total number of electrons. The total number of electrons we can write as number of electrons per unit volume into volume of that part. So volume of that part we can write it as Vd into dl we can write, right? So Vd into this area of cross section. So the area of cross section you need to write here, that dl into volume we need to write. That volume is nothing but you need to write it as area of cross section into dl we need to write. A is the area of cross section of that conductor and dl is that length of that element we are taking here. So into minus E into V bar, that means Vd bar cross B bar we need to write. So this is our Fv value. Is it clear how we are writing this n value? Total number of electrons. Number of electrons per unit volume into volume of that part I am writing there. And so next here we need to change this expression as, so see this, minus NaE into dl into Vd bar cross B bar. So now I am changing this vector as, observe this carefully, this df bar is equal to, now what I am writing as, this value you can write this as actually I into dl. So that means this value is nothing but, so first let us write this expression here. But minus NaE into dl into Vd bar, this value can be written as n into I into dl bar you can write, because this I value or the Vd expression we can write this as Vd is equal to I by NaE, right, or I is equal to Vd into NaE you can write. Now this vector and this vector both are opposite in direction. This dl, I into dl is nothing but we call the current element. So current element direction, dl bar direction is always taken in the direction of current here. But this Vd bar is opposite the direction of current. You can, if the current is flowing here, then Vd bar will be along this direction. So you can observe that both are opposite each other always. Because current carrying conductor means the charged particles are only electrons, and so that for electrons Vd and I bar are opposite each other. So that this vector we can replace this value as I into dl. So I into dl is nothing but now we call the current element. So the direction of the current element is nothing but in the direction of current. Its magnitude is equal to I times that of the dl, length of the small element here. So this is nothing but our current element. So right, so that is a significance here. These two are equal. That means just we are replacing this IAE into VD value as I, we are replacing small, that means current, and we are changing this directions also. That means so that I am eliminating this negative sign here. Therefore, that above expression you can write that expression as df bar is equal to minus, that means IDL bar cross B bar. Is it clear? So that is a force acting on a current carrying element. So this expression is nothing but, you can mention this as force acting on small current carrying wire or small current carrying element. So that force acting on that is given by that. And so now here again the direction of this force is again it will be perpendicular to that dl bar and L bar, you can write here. The direction of that force is perpendicular to the dl bar and L bar. Is the dl bar direction is clear? Dl bar direction is nothing but in the direction of current, you need to consider always. The direction of dl bar is in the direction of the current, you need to consider. So from this we can conclude that the force acting on the current carrying conductor is perpendicular to the plane containing the length and the B bar. So mention that. Therefore the force acting on this current carrying conductor is perpendicular to the plane containing DL bar and B bar. DL bar and B bar. The same concept we applied for the charged particle also. There we mentioned just V bar and B bar. It is perpendicular to the plane containing this V bar and B bar there in case of a charged particle. And so now here in this is the force acting on a small conductor here. So from this if you want to write force acting on this total conductor. So that force acting on the total conductor means we need to integrate that equation there. So therefore force acting on total conductor. So force acting on total conductor is equal to F is equal to integral of df bar, you can write, or integral of df, or which is nothing but integral of I into dl bar cross B bar we need to write. This is the force acting on the total conductor means. So here only two cases we will discuss here. So that means in this case only, that means just for the total conductor means we need to integrate this equation. So here only we can mention the two cases there. Like if the conductor is a straight conductor for example. So that means case 1 for straight conductors. For straight conductors means then if suppose the magnetic field is like this, I am taking this current carrying conductor like this, and this is magnetic field is along this direction here. It is placed in a magnetic field making an angle theta like this. This L is the length of the conductor like this. Right? So now L is the total length of the conductor we are taking here. And therefore what we can write here is for straight conductors. So F bar is equal to I into integral of dl bar cross B bar, now we can write. So this value is from 0 to L. Therefore this value we can write as I into integral of L bar cross B bar, you can write. Therefore for our straight conductors directly you can replace the dl bar with the L bar. Is it clear? So that is for the straight conductors. Or you can also mention this as, if you are writing its magnitude, you can write this magnitude as F is equal to BIL sin theta, you can write. Is it clear? So therefore for the straight conductors, the force acting on the straight conductor is BIL sin theta, you can write here. And so then in vector form, if you want to write I into L bar cross B bar, we need to take, just we consider the total length of this conductor here. But whereas if you are taking for the curved conductors there, so that means now for example case 2 I am taking there for curved conductors. For curved conductors. So for curved conductors, what we can consider there is, if suppose if I am taking this curved conductor like this, I will explain here. So I will write here case 2 for curved conductors. So for curved conductors, what will happen is, suppose I am taking this, a magnetic field is there along this direction. Now I am taking some curved conductor like this. Suppose this is PQ, a current I is flowing through that. So this is uniform magnetic field is there throughout this region here. Throughout this region, a uniform magnetic field is there here. So that now this is the PQ is our conductor there, but it is a curved conductor. So then what we can write here is, force acting on curved conductor means F bar is equal to integral of dF bar again. So that this value is nothing but I into integral of dl bar cross B bar, right? And so now this is from P to Q. For example, in this case I am taking here for P to Q. So for that conductor we need to integrate there. And so actually if you are integrating this for such a conductors from P to Q, what we can write is, we can replace that PQ, this value, the integral of by a straight conductor we can replace here. So PQ. And so then actually that is nothing but this. So you can say by using like a parallelogram, like you are adding all those vectors. This is a vector addition here. Integral of dl is different and integral of dl bar is different. Integral of dl means it is a scalar addition. We need to add all those elements, scalar addition, just algebraic addition of all the elements. But integral of dl bar means we need to add them vectorically. That means by using a Polygon's law. So by using that Polygon's law, we need to add them. So by Polygon's law, we know that the resultant of all the vectors will be equal to the closing side of that polygon there, taken in reverse order. So that is nothing but, now here we need to take this PQ here. We are adding like this. In opposite direction, we need to take like this PQ. And so that means what we can write here is, in case of curved conductors, so we can write this expression as I into PQ bar cross B bar, you can write. So PQ, where PQ is the shortest distance between the two ends of the curved conductor. So that means mention that where PQ is shortest distance between P and Q. So shortest distance between the P and Q, that means two ends of this curved conductor there. And that we need to consider that, that means we can replace this given curved conductor by a straight conductor like this. That actually, what actually it means is, you can replace the given conductor by taking a curved conductor placed like this, and the current is flowing from initial point to final point only, we need to consider that. That means from P bar to Q bar means we need to replace this by a straight conductor PQ, in which current is flowing from P to Q. So that means the direction we need to take in the same direction as that of our given. It is starting from P and it is reaching that point Q there. So that is the direction of this current. And in this only we can mention one more case here. So that means if that curved conductor is a closed conductor. So then can you say what is that value here, that force acting on the conductor? If the curved conductor is a closed conductor. So now I am taking that as a case 3. Force on closed loops. So force on closed loops means, now suppose say some current is there, that means like this a closed current carrying loop is there and it is placed in some magnetic field here. So my is there here and this magnetic field is there here. Now our question is, what is the net force acting on this? That is our question here. You may take any closed loop there. Any closed loop you may consider here. So then what is the force acting on that we need to find here. Closed loop means. So or you may consider like suppose it may be considered like this. So that this current is flowing like this. And so now we need to consider that force acting on this closed loop here. So again same, integral of df bar, so which indicates I into integral of dl bar cross b bar. So f bar is equal to I into integral of dl bar plus b bar, cross b bar. Now this integral of dl bar is a closed integration, that means on a closed loop we are integrating here. So on the closed loop means, for closed loop the integral of dl bar value will be equal to 0, right? As I said, that is nothing but integral of dl bar is nothing but the vector addition of the small elements, which is nothing but similar to that of a polygon law. So in case of polygon law, if you are forming a closed polygon, then the resultant of that closed polygon is nothing but 0 only, right? And so that here also we are getting that. So here you need to observe the difference between integral of dl bar and integral of dl. So for closed loop, integral of dl bar value will be equal to 0, and whereas integral of dl is equal to 2 pi r you can write. If it is a circular loop, for example, if you are taking here, it is the difference between dl bar and integral of dl bar and integral of dl. Integral of just dl is, it is a magnitude here, just we need to add all those dl elements. So total circumference you will get. For example, circle I am writing here, so that is 2 pi r you can write there. And whereas if you are taking for the dl bar, if you are writing, it is a vector addition. So vector addition means then integral of dl bar for this closed loop will be 0 you will get. And so therefore what we can write here is magnetic force for the closed loops will be 0. So therefore mention that, therefore magnetic force acting on closed loops is 0. Magnetic force acting on the closed loops is 0. But here you need to note one point here. The magnetic force acting on the closed loop, if current is completing the loop, that means current throughout the loop, current should flow in the same direction, either in clockwise direction or in anti-clockwise direction. Then only that force you will get it as 0. Remember that. That means in not always closed loops, if whenever closed loop is there, you don't answer blindly that force is 0. It is one of the possibility. The other possibility, they will change some small changes in that circuit there. So here it will be 0 if the circuit is either like this or either like this. That means here what I am saying is current in this throughout this loop will be in the same direction, either in it may be either in clockwise direction or it may be in anti-clockwise direction. You are taking a closed loop, but some part of the circuit current is flowing in clockwise direction and some other part is current is flowing in anti-clockwise direction there. So then net force need not be 0, right? And there are certain situations where like one part of the loop will be there in one plane and other part of the loop will be in other plane there. So there also that net force need not be 0 in such a case also. So not always in all cases there. So that clearly in which case you can answer means, if total loop is lying in the same plane and throughout this loop current is flowing in the same direction. So same amount of current is flowing in the same direction. Like either the current may be flowing in the loop in clockwise direction or in anti-clockwise direction, you can answer it directly. The force acting on that will be 0. That is a simple case where the force acting on the closed loop is 0. And so if any changes are there in that situation, then you need to think it carefully. That means the current is not flowing or same amount of current is not flowing the loop, or the different parts of the loops are there in the different planes. So then in that case also you need to think it carefully and you need to answer that. Resultant force acting on that loop, we need to answer that. So that means in general we say that net force acting on the closed loop. So mention that point there. Therefore, net force acting on the closed loop, net force acting on the closed loop is 0, and these are the exclusions there. That means if loop is lying in the same plane and the current is same amount of current is flowing throughout the loop in the same sense, that means either in clockwise sense or in anti-clockwise sense. I will give some examples where the force is 0 and where the force is not equal to 0. So now let us see. So these are expressions for this force acting on this current carrying conductor here. So for a small element, if you are taking, you need to take I bar, that means that force expression is nothing but this expression here, I into dl bar cross b bar you need to take, force acting on a small element. Whereas if you are taking this force acting on this different conductor, if you are taking for example like a straight conductor, if you are taking, then integral of dl means we replace with the L bar. So BIL sin theta you can write, or I into L bar cross B bar you can write. If it is a open curved part, then you need to write like this. We need to replace that given curved conductor by a conductor, straight conductor, which is the shortest distance between those two ends. And if it is a completely closed loop, then force acting on that conductor will be 0, but you need to verify the given conditions, what the conditions I said. So now let us see that some problems based on that. So just I am taking this a semicircular wire here of radius r, and suppose here magnetic field is into the plane and current I. So mention that a semicircular loop of radius r, a semicircular loop of radius r carrying current I is placed in a magnetic field of induction B. Is placed in a magnetic field of induction B, normal to its plane. Find the force acting on the conductor. Find the force acting on the conductor. Right? So actually you can solve it in two ways here. You can solve it in two ways, means you may take a small element and you can write that integration. You can take the small elements and you can write the integration. Like for example, if I am taking the small element of this, so if you are taking a small element of this, if you are considering here, then can you say the direction of force acting on this by using our, so about the direction I didn't mention in this previous discussion, because about the direction we already know that. That means we can apply the Fleming's left hand rule clearly now, where this forefinger is the field direction and central finger is the current direction here. Then this thumb gives the direction of the force. Right, we already discussed it for the charged particle, and the same concepts we need to apply here for the force, regarding the force. Now in case of charged particle, central finger I said for the velocity of the charged particle. Now here it indicates the directly current direction. The central finger indicates the direction of the current here. Forefinger is the direction of this field. Or once again mention about that. Mention about the direction of the force, and after that you can solve this problem there. Direction of force acting on current carrying conductor. Or if you already started that problem, just mention it as a note. So that means now here it is the direction of force acting on current carrying conductor. You can find by using either cross product rule. dF bar is equal to I into dl bar cross B bar. So mention about that. The direction of force can be found. That means the direction of force is always perpendicular to dl bar and B bar. dl bar and B bar, which can be found by using cross product rule. Or by using Fleming's left hand rule. Fleming's left hand rule. So in that Fleming's left hand rule, we already mentioned there, forefinger indicates the field, and so then next the central finger indicates current, and then this thumb indicates the direction of the force. We mention it as a thrust, or which is nothing but the force. So that means same notation here. See here simply that central finger is the current there, which we already mentioned in the previous motion of the charged particle. So the forefinger indicates the field, central finger indicates the current, and the thumb indicates the thrust, or the which is nothing but the force there. So that is about the direction of the force. So you can apply this left hand rule there like this. If suppose that field is not perpendicular to this element here, suppose current is there like this and magnetic field is along this direction, so you can resolve this field into components here. So then it is b cos theta and b sin theta you may consider. Now due to b cos theta there is no force acting on this conductor here, because this b cos theta and I are in the same direction, so due to that there is no force. Then only this b sin theta component you need to take. So field is along the direction, current is flowing along this direction, then the thumb is out of the plane here. So the magnetic force acting on that conductor will be out of the plane. Or you can apply this cross product rule here, I bar cross. So I bar cross, that means dl bar is nothing but in the direction of I bar, what I said. So I bar cross b bar means then this dl bar cross b bar means it will be out of the plane. So either you can calculate by cross product rule, or you can apply this Fleming's left hand rule here. And so now in this problem, if you consider the direction, according to the direction what I said, so the field is into the plane, current is flowing along this direction, so the magnetic force acting on this element will be along this direction here, df will be there along this direction. So you can resolve this. Another element if you are taking like here, then df will be along this direction. So if you resolve them into components and if you are integrating them, then you will get the net force acting in this upward direction there, right? That is one way there. That means what I am saying here is, but actually that lengthy method is not required, just I am explaining the procedure there. So that means here, suppose if I am taking this an element here, so this is one element, or this is another element, let us consider here. So the force acting on that small element, what you can write here is, this is the first method what I am saying here. So let us consider this as the first method. So then what we can write is df is equal to I into dl. dl is nothing but r d theta into b. That means both are perpendicular here. Or first let us write the formula here. This is nothing but dl bar cross b bar. So here this is I into b into dl into sin theta we can write here. This is the formula in this. Now I am applying for this case here. So for this case it is df into I into b into dl means this length of this arc we need to write. So the length of the arc we can write as r into d theta. Into this sin 90 we need to write here. And so because dl bar is along this direction, b bar is into the plane there. So therefore this df is equal to bir into d theta we need to write. And now here the net force is nothing but you can resolve them into components here. So this is df cos theta, df sin theta. So similarly it is df cos theta, df sin theta you will get. And so therefore it is nothing but you can write this expression as, from this you can conclude that net force is nothing but these two components will be cancelled, net force is df cos theta. So I am taking it as 2df cos theta you can write. If you are taking 2df cos theta, limits only one side we need to consider here. This is from 0 to pi by 2 you may consider there. And you can simplify this expression here. So therefore this net force is equal to 2 into integral of df is nothing but bir into d theta into cos theta, 0 to pi by 2, right? and therefore this net force is nothing but, you can write this as 2 BIR, you can write, because cos theta integration is sin theta you will get, and the limits from 0 to 90 means you will get 1. So this is a force acting on this conductor here. Now let us see our second method. So our second method is nothing but, for curved conductors, we already know that df bar or f bar is equal to integral of I into dl bar cross b bar. And so now this value we can write this as I into PQ bar cross B bar, right? This we already mentioned there, where PQ is the shortest distance we need to write here. So for the given case, if we consider the shortest distance between these two means, then this distance we need to consider here. Suppose this is the PQ distance if I consider there. So then PQ means now we need to consider like 2R, the diameter. Therefore this value is nothing but I into PQ into B into sin 90. And so now this is nothing but I into PQ is nothing but 2R into B. So therefore it is BI into 2R we can write, or 2B into IR we can write. So this is the force expression there. That means either you can write directly like this. That means this is the simplest method. So generally problems we need to proceed like this only. No need of doing this integration method. Just I am explaining that procedure there. So that means you can approach this method here. You can directly take the shortest distance between them and you can calculate the force acting on it. So we are replacing this total curved conductor by a shortest distance. And you can also find the direction here. Here we are getting this direction of the forces along this j cap direction here, right? And so now here also you can get this direction. So for finding the direction also, you can replace this by a straight conductor PQ here, carrying the current I. Now the direction as well as both magnitude are same. The force acting on this semicircle and force acting on this straight conductor, which is whose length is equal to diameter of that semicircle, both are exactly same. You can find the direction of this. For this we already concluded here. This force direction will be upward direction. Now for this simply apply this left hand rule here. If you apply the left hand rule here, the field is inwards. Current is flowing along this direction, so the force is acting in upward direction here. So the force direction also you can find by using this. So that is the direction of this way of finding here. So generally we proceed like this by using that shortest distance between them, right? And so now let us see some more problems based on this force here. So write a common question there. Find the force acting on the current carrying conductors in the following cases. Find the force acting on the current carrying conductors in the following cases. So the first one I am taking like a closed current carrying loop here. This is of radius R carrying some current I. And the second one I am taking like so current is here entering and here it is leaving. Let's suppose it is 2I. So current in this part is I and in this part is I. So this is also of radius R. And here magnetic field is there into the plane here. I am not representing throughout the region. Throughout the region that field is there here, and here also that magnetic field d bar is there into the plane. And next let us see another problem like suppose here this current is entering like this. Suppose I is flowing here and I is flowing here. This is a semicircle of radius R. right? And here also this magnetic field is there into the plane. And the next, the fourth one is there. This is semicircle of radius r, which we discussed now, carrying some current I. Now the magnetic field here, direction here, the magnetic field direction. So in this case, you need to find this force. And the next one is, like suppose if the conductor is in the form of this sine wave here, of this distance lambda by 2 up to here, and this is also lambda by 2. Some current I is flowing here, only current is flowing like this. This is the only conductor here, sine wave. And so now here again two cases will be there. When the magnetic field is along this direction, find the force acting on this. And the next one is the same problem. So this is lambda by 2 and here it is lambda by 2. And when the magnetic field is, current I is flowing here, and now in this case the magnetic field is perpendicular to the plane and into the plane, right? So first let us see these, up to these problems here. And so now first one you can answer here directly. It is a closed loop and then it is current is flowing in the same sense here. So you can answer it directly as net force acting on this will be 0, right? And then next, if you are taking this case here, so the current is in the upper semicircle, current is flowing, I is flowing in clockwise direction. Now it is flowing in anti-clockwise direction. So that is what I said in the previous case there. That means when you are discussing about this curved closed loops. And so now in this case, even though it is a closed loop, but current is not following that closed loop here. That means the total current is not flowing in the same sense. It is flowing in the different sense there. So then what will happen is, the force acting on this part and force acting on this part, let us find here. So the force acting on this upper semicircle will be along this direction. You can consider like this. The force acting on this upper semicircle will be F along this direction. For semicircle we already discussed it there. So then you will get Bi into 2R, right? So you can apply this rule here by using this. We can replace by a straight conductor. And similarly the force acting on this lower semicircle also you will get the same direction, because for this also you can replace by using this conductor like this, and for this also you can replace by a conductor like this. And so force acting on this lower semicircle also you will get F is equal to Bi into 2R you will get. So now force acting on upper semicircle is F into Bi, and that means F is equal to Bi into 2R, and lower semicircle also Bi into 2R, both are in upward direction there. So when both are in upward direction, then net force acting on this will be equal to F1 plus F2 we can write, so which is 4 Bi R we can write. Is it clear? So that means here if you are taking like this, for this also if you are explaining like that, then let us see how it becomes 0 here. The force acting on this semicircle will be there upward direction like this, but the force acting on the lower semicircle will be F will be there like this. Because for the upper semicircle current is flowing like this, PQ bar if you consider, and for the lower semicircle the current we should take in opposite direction there. In this if you are replacing by this curved conductor by a straight conductor here, PQ. And so that force acting on upper one will be upwards you will get, and force acting on the lower one will be downwards you will get. So that is because of this current direction here. Here current direction is in clockwise and here current direction is in anti-clockwise sense. So just we need to apply this Fleming's left hand rule like this. Here force will be in downward direction. So here both are in opposite direction, so that net force is 0, and here both are in same direction, so we need to add this net force here. And so that the net force acting on that will be 4 into BAR you will get. And similarly you may consider that in third case there. In third case, can you say what is the force? In third case again this one will be there and the another one will be there like this. And suppose in third let it be A and let it be B here. In third only those two cases. And so now in third one This case, if you are taking force acting on this semicircle, means we need to replace that semicircle by a straight conductor, right? Already here one more side conductor is there here, right? So two side conductors will be there. Is it clear? If this diameter is not there, then we need to replace this by a straight conductor. So whose current is flowing from P to Q. That means this end to this end we need to consider here. And similarly here, this conductor is already present here. So that means 2 times that conductor we need to consider here. 2 times we need to calculate the force acting on that straight wire there. Because already that wire is there and we are replacing the semicircle by that wire. And here in this example also you can observe that even though that loop is a closed loop, but current flowing in that loop is not in the same sense here. In the upper part it is in clockwise and in the lower part it will be in that means anti-clockwise here. These two are similar cases now. And so that the force acting here we can write this as force acting on this upper semicircle is Bi into 2R, and force acting on this diameter is also Bi into 2R you can write. And so that this net force is F1 plus F2, which is 4 BIR you will get. So force acting on these two cases will be same. And next if you are taking this one. So now here current is flowing in the same sense here. So that in the same sense and the loop is lying in the same plane means then automatically force will be 0 you will get. So force acting on this semicircle will be F1, same Bi into 2R along this direction. Now force acting on this here also magnetic field will be same, inwards only. So then force acting on this F2 will be Bi into 2R in downward direction you will get. So field is inwards and current is flowing along this direction here. So the central finger thumb will be along this downward direction there. So that net force will be here, the net force will be equal to F1 minus F2 you will get, so which is 0. So that means there is no net force here. And similarly you can answer these cases also now. So if you are taking this case here, so force acting on this case will be now this is the open semicircle here, this diameter is not closed here. And so in this case that force will be, we need to replace this by a straight conductor here. So that means this case we can consider this as, we are replacing, suppose I am taking this as a PQ, that PQ I am replacing like this. So some carrying current I and this length is 2R. And now here magnetic field is also in the same direction here, right? And so that force acting on this conductor now in this case we can write as Bi into 2R into sine 0. Because the angle between DL bar and B bar, that means L bar and B bar both are same only. And so that the force acting on this case will be 0, right? So because here force is 0 because of this reason here, both are parallel. And the same reason here, that means you can replace this total wire by a conductor of length lambda. Suppose say this is P and this is Q I am taking here. So this is PQ you can consider here, this is lambda length and the carrying current I. And a B bar is also in the same direction here. So that means PQ bar and B bar are in the same direction. So that this net force is B into I into lambda into sine 0 we need to write. So which is 0. So the force acting in this case will also be 0. But whereas if you are taking this case, then both are perpendicular to each other we can write. And so that then this is a conductor of length lambda here. This is our PQ length carrying some current I and a magnetic field is inwards. So in this case if I write F is equal to B into I into lambda into sine 90 you can write. So F is equal to Bi lambda you can write there. So that is the force acting in that case there. So that is Bi into lambda, and because that 90 degrees means sine 90 is 1. So like that you can calculate the force acting on the loops here. So those are the cases where force may be 0 and force is not equal to 0 even though loop is a closed loop. If you are taking examples like this, force is not equal to 0, and whereas if you are taking an example like this, force is 0. And even though if the force is for this straight conductor we discussed when the field is perpendicular then force will be there. But when the field is lying in the same plane then force will be 0 here. So you need to answer it carefully by observing both whether it is a closed loop or open loop. First we need to think about that, and next if it is a closed loop whether the current is flowing in the same direction or same sense or not you need to think. Next you need to think about the direction of the field, that means angle between L bar and B bar also need to think there, right? So basing on that, we need to answer about this magnitude of the force acting on the conductors then. And some more models are there based on the force acting on current carrying conductors. We will discuss those problems in our next class, right? Thank you.